what do I do? Do I still do it? What is up, Daily Crew? It's crazy how many times I did that. How many times I did that. I have been feeling an urge recently to come back and just, I don't know how many of you are still here, but that's a lot has changed in my life. Um, and I just want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and who knows? Maybe I'll make videos again, maybe I won't. But that's the wonderful thing about the mindset change that has been happening is man, therapy has been therapying. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. I'm not sure how much I have updated people on, but I was talking about I do the podcast and that fell off, and then I was gonna move to Australia to go be with someone, and then like that didn't work out, and then for the last year, I lived with my parents, kind of like laying low and figuring stuff out. And I started a newsletter called Unfiltered Friends, moved back to Denver, launched a hiking channel, so many things. But there's something about the way that I showed up on the internet. There's two main things that I worked on. And we'll start with one of the biggest changes, which is why I kind of let everything fall apart or I disappeared for a little while I was trying to figure it out is the people pleasing stuff is it's tough and it's very common, but uh, I had to change the way that I was looking at how I showed up on here. I reached a certain level of success, especially thanks to TikTok growing and stuff like that. I grew a pretty big following there. I had to change. I got to a level of success. I looked at the things that I had, things that I'd always dreamed of, but they were kind of superficial things. It was like a car or a certain like lifestyle or certain follower count. And I got to that point and I looked around and I said, this wasn't it. I think you think that when you move into the stuff of your dreams and it becomes your reality, that it's going to fix the way that you feel. And that is not the sort of thing that fixes how you feel. And oh God, so much has happened. I don't even know how to. I probably should have wrote this out, but we're gonna wing it. I realized that I showed up on the internet in a way where I thought about, will people like this, and will this make people like me, before I looked at myself and said, do I even enjoy doing this? I was really passionate about all the things that I spoke about. Especially here doing the amount of advocacy that I did, especially in the LGBT community. I really was passionate about that stuff, and I believed in it, and I dedicated a decade of my life to it because I have a sense of justice, which we'll get into that later, and I saw people being mistreated, and I said, well, I don't agree with this, and I'm going to utilize this microphone that I have in order to make change or influence change. But there was definitely an aspect of myself, and I'm not trying to be embarrassed about this because I think a lot of us do this, but I'm just being transparent. I think I always felt like I didn't really belong anywhere, and I wanted to be accepted by people. And so I thought that in order for me to be accepted by people, I had to do something for them. It had to be transactional. And I always felt safest in the gay community because I don't identify with toxic masculine ideals in many ways. And most of my relationships were with gay people and women, which was wonderful. It gave me a lot of like really good perspective. But I think it's also important that I investigate I investigated that part of my brain that was like, I want people to like me. So if I show up and I show up in this way, then people will accept me and I will have a place to belong. I will have my family, because I feel like I was kind of like in an in-between place, like a place that where I wasn't meeting a lot of other people like me, which brings me kind of to my next point, which was I got diagnosed with ADHD. at the beginning, about May of this year, which made so many things make so much sense. Of course, I don't feel like I fit in most places. When you are neurodivergent, the world doesn't not cater to you, but you just feel like an alien. Have you ever seen the show Resident Alien? If you haven't, watch it. If you have, you'll understand this. I hate how much I identified with the alien. So I was looking at my life, and I was looking at the way I was showing up and the things that was happening, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of like the audition process. The audition process that literally no one asked me to do. I thought that these connections had to be transactional. You know, I'm going to give you I'm going to show up in a way that makes sense that you enjoy, and at that point I'm going to feel the feeling of acceptance that I've always wanted. So I ended up getting medicated for ADHD, which cleared up so many things for me. It was like my whole world changed because it's just like, I saw someone say this online and it really resonated with me, was that an ADHD diagnosis does not change how other people see you. It changes how you see yourself. Yeah, it just, I sat back and like the first few days I was crying a lot because you just think about, they tried to diagnose me when I was in kindergarten. And then like the the way that my ADHD shows up, it doesn't have to do with me not being able to focus on things. It has more so to do with, there was like a depression that was connected to it, but not, I've never said depression because the depression, I didn't think I was depressed. I just have a lot of moments of like sadness. Well, one, your boy didn't have any dopamine in his brain. That's going to make you feel sad. But beyond that, you just feel alone and things don't make sense because you're thinking from a neurotypical perspective. And then when you look at, so all the different things that I did and like commitments to I'm going to go do this now. And then I would do that for like a little bit and then I would abandon it. And then you would start to feel like a failure in that process. Like you would feel like I just can't accomplish anything. Now, I need that part of my brain, that chaotic part of my brain sometimes. Like when I make content, it made me a great content creator because I had a lot of really random thoughts. So, I mean, I made videos on here every day for 6 years. You got to come up with stuff all the time. So sometimes if I'm making content, I don't take my pill until after because it's a little bit of my sparkle. It gives me a little bit of that personality. But the freedom of actually having dopamine in my system has been incredible. But through this whole process, through therapy and healing and letting everything kind of fall apart and investigating my life and getting diagnosed with ADHD and figuring out the systems that work for the way that my brain worked instead of the way it works for most people's brains, brought me to this wonderful place. It brought me to a place where I'm just like, I want other people to like me. I want to like me more. And when I started to kind of change that, a lot of that weight and that pressure just kind of lifted off of me. It was fantastic. It was just like, but the only person who was putting that pressure on me was me. I mean, sure, there's societal pressures and people are going to say what they're going to say, but I was allowing other people to shift where I focused like a little too much because I was waiting for acceptance. And now I accept me. It's like that I went from I went from being the bee to becoming the flower. And I'll explain. If you don't know this phrase, the bee bounces around everywhere and pollinates and whatever a bee does. The flower just chills and becomes fragrant. So instead of trying to find places that I could be accepted in, I just chill back and I am myself. And I hope that the people that come into my life Or, I mean, the people who come into my life are attracted to that. And I'm so much less tired. I don't know. It's been 18 years. Isn't that crazy? Of me uploading my thoughts onto here. You can go back to 24-year-old me. I'm 42 now. You can go back to 24-year-old me and you can see how much change has happened over that time. And I'm so proud of that person that I've become. But in order to become that proud person, you have to accept that you aren't perfect, in that you could have done things differently. That's always going to be true no matter who you are. You could have done things better or differently. I didn't even have all the full information. Anyway, I just felt like coming on here and talking to y'all, whoever is still left here, because this place was a major place for me to develop my mindset. I don't know that I'll upload again. I could. I was thinking about just talking like this about the newsletter topics that I've been covering on my newsletter, which is called Unfiltered Friends. I'll leave the link in the bio for that. Um, I'm curious what you guys have to say about anything that I said, if it made sense. All very stream of consciousness. Life is good. I'm in a better place. I understand myself more, and I'm starting to love who this person is for the first time in my life. And it is a process, but it's wonderful. So hopefully this inspires you to do the same. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments. Maybe I'll make another video. Maybe I won't. But for now, it was wonderful talking to you guys. Did I do the